guys, welcome to Met Gala Luncheon. I'm your host, Sarah Van Turenhout, and I'm joined by
Rosalinda.
And this is the podcast where we break down our favorite reality TV shows and dive into the craziness that ensues. This week for our first episode, we're getting into the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, episode 1. Welcome to Salt Lake City.
This is just a great thing. I'm a Real Housewives. Like, I watched the very first Orange County, so watching this one, and being the first one that we're watching together is actually pretty exciting for me. So we need to break it in to see how they've chosen these women. So we're going to talk a little bit about each one of them so we can kind of introduce you to them. And then we'll get down into what we'll be seeing for the
first episode.
Exactly.
A lot went down this first episode, and I'm really excited to see where this season goes. So we've got 6 interesting women.
Yeah, I mean, they're all very diverse. It's like you pretty much think of Salt Lake City, and they kind of even preface this in the intro that, it's kind of, Salt Lake City is kind of magical and weird because of the Mormons.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely felt like out of left field, like choosing Salt Lake City as a location.
It did. I guess my thing is like, are the Mormons really that mystical?
I mean, they have their own planet and magical underwear.
I get that. But the funny thing is that I'm just like, okay, we've all met Mitt Romney. He's not that scary. Like, in terms of Mormons, I mean, I could name a few, but they don't. But anyway, but then you find out that they're kind of all a little bit Mormon adjacent. So you're not really getting into the mysticalness of the Mormons, even though many of them seem to be related.
Yeah, Mormon royalty and like the bodyguard of Brigham Young. Like, we've got some heavy hitters in the Mormon church that have just kind of fallen off the bandwagon.
Well, my thing is, part of that is like, I didn't realize that they considered Howard Hughes a Mormon. I mean, it was just his driver that was a Mormon.
I mean, I guess, they need as many people as they can get, so they'll take anyone.
But that's what constitutes Mormon royalty. But I literally don't think he was Mormon. I mean, he's buried like right next to our downtown here in Houston. So, he was also in one of those hermetic chambers and never cut off his hair or his fingernails. Like, that's much more mystical than any of the Mormon stuff we've gotten into in this first episode.
Yeah, but I guess, that's pretty on brand for Mormonism. It's about the pursuit of perfection and,
I guess. So anyway, so just to get right into it, I guess we can talk about, we're just going to kind of go through each of the women because they all have very interesting taglines, which we're not going to we may like refer to them, but like other podcasts talk about them in depth, which I'm not sure really needs to be
rehashed,
examined that much.
Although I will say I was kind of disappointed. I mean, these women obviously have seen previous Housewife franchises, and this is the best. Like, even their kids didn't comment on it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was. They were not the best in terms of out of the gate taglines. But I guess first off, we meet Jen.
Yeah, Jen. Oh gosh, do we have a lot to say about Jen? But we'll keep it light to start.
Right. So basically, we kind of open up with Jen and her family having breakfast. I think.
Yeah. Coach Shaw was making breakfast for the fam.
So Jen is like, she's a Pacific Islander and also Chinese.
She's like Tongan, Hawaiian, and Chinese. And I think she was born in Hawaii, and then she moved to Salt Lake City when she was like 7 or 8 or something like that, and was converted to Mormonism. And that, I guess maybe she met Coach Shaw in Utah as well.
Coach Shaw, who is a Muslim football coach for the University of Utah.
Yeah, that must be very interesting living in Salt Lake City for him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the fact that he's the football coach, he gets lots of basically passes on things that I think most people at, Utah may not have to like deal with. At least he's not at BYU where he would be under lock and key. But he is at Utah, and I guess they're as long as the Utes are doing okay, they're probably not going to come down on him too hard. But anyway, so we learn a lot about Jen and her family. She has how many sons?
I think 3.
Right.
Yeah. And she definitely, like, for a breakfast conversation, this first intro into her life was just, it definitely just took me aback. It's just like, oh gosh, this is Jen Shaw. Because like the first episode, she's asking her son, oh, do you have a girlfriend? And it's like her youngest son or middle son or whatever was like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, she was like, oh, just like, don't go kissing anybody because you could get AIDS.
Yeah, so right out of the bat, she like comes out with something that like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, literally, have you been under a rock? Like, we know that you can't get AIDS from kissing.
Yeah, that was just really like all of her sons, and even Coach Shaw was like, what is happening?
I can't believe that we're still in 2020 and or I guess it was 2019. But
Yeah.
she was still discussing AIDS as something that's communicable by kissing.
Yeah. But then, I mean, she, doubled down on this awkward breakfast. Like, I don't know about you, but when I'm having breakfast, I'm not really thinking about these, like, wanting to talk about relationships or AIDS. I don't know. But she keeps going and talks about, and asks her son if she'd ever heard of sexting. And I just think it's funny how they both were like, no, I've never heard of sexting before. Like, that obviously is a lie. Like, come on.
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, the thing that's even more hilarious about that is that then she's going to give him advice about if you get a sex, then you have to block them and then come tell me. Like any like normal teenager is going to come tell their mother about the sex they got.
Like, oh my God, that would be such horror. Like, I no.
Yeah, no, I kind of feel like that just seemed really a little bit artificial to me.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, and I feel bad for the kids because, like, obviously, first of all, it's an awkward conversation. I don't think that's going on at the Shaw house every day.
Like, normally. It was just the cameras.
There were cameras there, so she had to come up with something kind of, shocking.
Salacious.
Yeah, for her.
First intro.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're the kids, and you're like, these people are all in my house, and my mom's asking me about sexting, and she's also then saying to me, hey, come tell me about your sext.
Yeah.
That is creepy AF. Anyway.
Although, I mean, I feel like, with the amount of assistants she has, and like, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of, what's that housewife from Beverly Hills? Oh gosh. From this last season, she was Charlie Sheen's ex-wife.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, now. Denise Richards.
Denise Richards. She was always talking about sex. And that was a whole scandal for this last season. But, like, I don't know. I just feel like Jen and her assistants are kind of out there raunchy. Not in a bad way, but, like, I don't know. Maybe they're used to hearing these types of things.
Well, I guess that's the crazy thing. It's like all of a sudden, like, after, Erica Jane and her glam squad, which I guess are now going away because of the whole Tom and Erica
rise
Jane.
And fall.
The whole rise and fall. If you haven't read it, you should, check
LA
out
Times.
the LA Times on the rise and fall of Erica Jane and Tom. But, she kind of pioneered the glam squad. I mean, there were other people who had some glam squads before, but this was like an impressive thing. And it felt like they all of a sudden Housewives need to have a glam squad.
Yeah.
In fact, I want to say when Beverly Hills came back after the first season of Erica Jane, they all had, I mean, Dorit had a glam squad.
Yeah.
Like everybody had their glam squad and their little social media, like followers who were not followers, but I guess assistants that were making sure that they had every Instagrammable moment like there. It wasn't like, and she was like, look, everybody was looking perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt like this was Jen's like attempt to to being the Erica Jane.
Squad.
Yeah, she wanted to be Erica Jane like.
Yeah, well, because she had the Shaw squad.
Right.
But I mean, but then you get into her first assistant, Stuart, who just like knows everything about her. She even is like, oh yeah, Stuart knows more about me than even Sharif.
Which is her husband.
Yes, Coach Shaw.
So
yeah.
So yeah, my thing is like, I don't know which kind of, I mean, he looks like he's probably in his 40s maybe.
Yeah.
A 40-year-old white Mormon man knowing about somebody's cycle.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. But it's just like, I don't understand the whole Shaw squad in general. Like, she has 8+ assistants and we don't even know what she does.
Right. They never really refer to what she does at all.
Yeah, besides like host crazy parties and like lets her assistants know that they can't eat.
I know.
Because they have to do everything and they have to be available at a moment's notice.
Yeah, it just sounds crazy.
Yeah. And then finally, also about Jen, we noticed multiple times in the episode, her like every single time she got out of a car, it was like a big Hollywood moment, like paparazzi. You see her foot coming down on the pavement, and she's wearing these like kick-ass heels. It's just, I mean, she's a character.
Yeah, it is really crazy.
All right. Moving on to Heather, we see that she's a pioneer woman, blazing her own trail with Beauty Lab Cosmetics, which, I mean, I didn't realize the Mormon church was all about perfection. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't know much about the Mormon church in general before this TV show, but I guess, yeah, running a cosmetics brand would really be like putting your hand in a river of money.
Yeah, it sounds like it is. But yeah, I was the same. I was not aware of not only that, but there was like, these giant Mormon industries based around that, kind of perfection. Now, the interesting thing about Heather, which I know has been mentioned by just people in the media, I mean, it is kind of very, I guess it's nice to have someone who has, like, I would say a more realistic body type.
Yeah.
And to have, I mean, she doesn't have the, I mean, that's the thing about it. Like, a lot of the rest of the women are pretty much your kind of stereotypical Real Housewives. They either have like really big boobs, they've had the plastic surgery, they look pretty perfect.
Yeah.
And the fact that she is a person who makes her money from doing things like that, but is like very comfortable in her own skin and is, and also, I mean, she has daughters and she seems to be very body positive with them. I don't think she's really pushing any agenda that you have to be perfect, even though that's what she does for a living.
That's true. But I mean, I did think it was an interesting kind of like side comment. I don't think there's really much into it, but I like to overanalyze things. But like she called her kids like greasy monkeys going into that facial. Like, y'all need some help.
I think she's just trying to be like the, mom who's in touch.
I mean, I don't know. I've never heard greasy monkey before. Yeah.
Well, that's Jen. But the thing is, Heather, sorry. Heather is like, I mean, she's like real down to earth, I think. Yeah. I think in that case, she is very pioneer. Like she doesn't put on a ton of airs. She kind of knows who she is. She's also very... I think she really does have this idea, even though she has a lot of insecurities and they pop up a lot, in terms of her just not feeling that she's adequate. And part of that is, I mean, we'll get into it later, but about, the fact she's divorced. Yeah. And she's raising these girls on her own. And she also was married to
Mormon royalty.
Again, we find out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that, that's like, to me, the most interesting thing about Jen is that she is like more down to earth and more normal.
Yeah, I think she's definitely the most relatable of the housewives. Maybe of like all of the franchises. I don't know. I've only seen New York and Beverly Hills, so like neither of those franchises are very like relatable to the everyday woman, because we don't all have glam squads. We're not all going to the Hamptons and then but yeah, Heather feels very approachable, relatable.
Yeah, I mean, you have like Gina and Emily on OC now, who are much more like, body types are more like normal people. But my thing is they still seem to be a little bit contrived. Now, the weird thing is Emily is married to a Mormon. So,
oh, interesting.
So there is this Mormon thing going through.
It's a conspiracy.
It is. Bravo is now trying to push
the Mormon agenda.
Yeah. Anyway, so, but yeah, so I guess, part of, what it is with her is I think she, unlike Gina and Emily, I think she just seems like someone who is, like literally somebody you could go out and have you could have a cocktail with and have fun with, and she wouldn't be too, I guess, too stuffy or too snooty. She probably wouldn't like tell you to jog on.
Jog on. Okay. The next housewife we meet is Whitney, and like jarring is the wrong word, but like it was very abrupt, the transition in between meeting Heather and then going into Whitney, because the setup is of a wedding. And like you see Whitney getting ready in this beautiful white dress going down the aisle. And like that's very much, you told me this earlier, but it's like very much like a season finale of a Housewives franchise episode, but like that's her entrance.
Yeah, pretty much vow renewals are the sacrosanct thing of a final episode, or maybe the next to the final episode on anything. And they usually don't end up well. Like nobody who's had a vow renewal on The Real Housewives has ever stayed married. So good luck to you,
Whitney. Well, I mean, it has been 16 years, so, you know, fingers crossed for them.
I don't know. I want to say Vicky and Don were married for a long time as well. And Shannon Bedore was like at least, I don't know, 19, 20, and I don't know.
Oh, gosh.
So, you know, I think they both had her beat, and then they
Ramona
were gone.
and, oh, shoot, what's his name? Mario.
Oh, Mario. I did that. Yeah, they did.
They had a vow renewal.
Oh, yeah,
the
they
year
were
before they split.
Oh yeah, so they actually were married probably the longest. So
True.
Yeah, I don't think Whitney. I mean, good luck, girl. But we learned so much about Whitney. We learned that she is considered in the Mormon community. She and her husband of this vow renewal are a little bit on the risque side because they met when she was pretty young.
Well, and married. They were both married.
Right. They worked at the same place.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he was actually an elder or something in the LDS.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so, yeah, so he lost his position in the church.
Whoa. Yeah.
So,
and
yeah.
his wife and kids.
Yeah, well, yeah, and she lost her husband. So,
yeah.
But, you know, so that's interesting. And then we learned very early on that, you know, she has an interesting hobby.
Pole dancing.
Yeah, she has a pole in her house.
Yeah. I mean, she can work it.
She can. And for all those haters out there, we all know that if we could work that pole like
she does,
Whitney, we would be doing it. And we'd be doing it on camera.
Yeah, I mean, she's got some abs. I mean, I'd be flaunting them too.
So, yeah. So that was, it was very abrupt, and it was a little odd. And one of the things I've heard is that Bravo had a production company that they used for this because they teased it at BravoCon in October last year. Yeah, so basically that first production company got fired for different reasons.
Wow, okay.
So I think some of the footage that we see basically was from that first production company.
Oh.
So that's why it seems to jump a lot chronologically.
Yeah.
In terms of what you're seeing. So I'm not sure why they decided to edit this way, but you know, it's okay. It gives us a good kind of introduction to Whitney, and honestly, she's really pleasant. She's really nice. I like her. She too is very genuine as a person.
I really like her. I think we'll get into it later, but I think she's definitely my favorite of this cast.
Yeah,
so far.
She's really good. And again, I just think that she, again, knows herself. I mean, I think one of the things that she is like, she realizes that she's not the most perfect person in the cast, and she's okay with that. She's not trying to strive for the same perfection that Heather is trying to.
Or Lisa, which we'll get into later too.
Yeah. So I mean, enough. And hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more of Whitney as the episodes proceed.
Yeah.
And we'll get to know a little bit more about her. But this was a good kind of, she's just kind of like, I don't know, she's a girl's girl. She's like really sweet and really nice. And, you know, she speaks her mind. She's not going to let anybody necessarily roll over her.
Yeah. I think Heather and Whitney are a nice, like, you know, breath of fresh air for the show.
They are not the drama.
No, not at all.
They may cause some, I guess. I mean, like I said, they're very, they're not going to let themselves be steamrolled. So I think they could create some drama.
Yeah, I know. Watch that like bite me in the butt later this season.
It could. But I really think right now, at least, I don't know. I would want them as my friends. I'm not sure if I would want Jen Shah as my friend.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just, it's too much work.
Yeah. again, we'll get into that later in this episode because, you know, shit goes down. But before we get into that, we're introduced to Meredith. I think, yeah, another favorite as well.
And this is the thing with this season of Salt Lake City, which chaps me. They have two housewives that look very much alike.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that I'm going to have trouble telling which one is which. And I know they're not identical, but their body types are pretty much the same. Their hair is the same. The shape of their face is the same. And I get that they're two different people. And as we meet them, we realize they may look alike, but it's like there's the one good twin and the evil twin.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and we'll get more onto that. But yeah, no, Meredith is actually she seems really nice.
Yeah. She definitely doesn't like fit the housewife mold per se. I mean, looks wise for sure, but like she seems very like you know, laid back, I guess is the word I'm trying to go for, but like, you know, like understated.
Yeah, and you can and we also meet her husband and her son, who is taken
Brooks.
did we meet? She has a daughter as well.
Yeah, I think she has 3 kids in total, but we've only met Brooks
right
so far.
And so, yeah, so she has her son Brooks is basically taken the semester off.
Yeah.
To be with his mom.
And be on the Housewives.
Exactly. I mean, my thing is like, Brooks, honey, we know what you're on for. You may, you know, being with your mom may be a little bit of a perk, but it's pretty clear that this boy has designs on what this is going to do for his career.
Yeah, for his fashion brand.
Yeah, there's lots of people that come on the Housewives, or like not mostly housewives themselves, who are all about self-promotion. I think this is like the first kid that I've seen that comes on that's like, I mean, aside from Gia from New Jersey, but I think she was pushed more into this. I think he was pushing the door and all on his own.
Yeah, because I mean, like from the gate, like he's just coming out with these quippy remarks about like his family and things, and so you're like, okay, yeah, he's trying to be the comedic relief, the relatable guy that we all like.
Yeah, and it's interesting because they're Salt Lake City transplants, right? So
they're from Chicago.
Yeah, they're from Chicago, and she has this fabulous like celebrity jewelry and clothing store.
Yeah, which you had to tell me like why that had to be in Park City, but
yeah, I mean, I was trying to explain that Park City is, you know, a playground for the rich and famous, and it's close to Sundance, and that's where all the big Sundance events happen. But she's also actually good at, I mean, as much as, I guess we were giving her, I guess, her son a hard time, she's pretty good at self-promotion too, because she right out of the gate, she's like, so-and-so and so-and-so.
Rihanna, like Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron,
yeah.
They're all my clients.
Yeah, no big deal. Scarlett Johansson, just, you know, people, normal, everyday people, just like you.
Right. And so, yeah, and you know, if you look up her jewelry line, there's like, yeah, that's way out of normal people's price range. So
gosh,
that
how
could,
much
that could
remember?
be. I think there was like one thing on there was like $14,000, which is a necklace.
It's like a casual purchase.
Yeah, exactly. It's a browsing purchase.
Yeah, just feeling impulsive today.
Yeah, I like a pretty bauble.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so we meet her. We meet her husband, who's a little gruff, honestly.
Yeah, they don't seem to match at all.
They don't seem very, and they've been married for like 20 years.
Yeah, 20, 23 years, something like that.
And yeah, they just don't seem like a happy couple. They go on this very strange drive to go on to a hike.
It was a very contrived walk. It just felt very weird. I mean, maybe that's because they're new to like reality TV and stuff, but it was just like, let's go on this 15-minute walk, which it's like, why?
They could have walked in their neighborhood.
Yeah, I have no clue. In the conversations they had, I just like, I don't know, because they saw that like animal print that looked to be like a cougar or something, and then
it was probably a dog.
No, oh yeah, I get, but I don't know. That's a pretty big dog. If that was a dog,
Right. But it was a bear, right? I think
yeah. They thought it
settled
was
on
a bear. And how the dad was like, oh well, wouldn't that have been funny, Brooks, if you got like mauled by the bear? Because then you get so many more followers. It's like, why is that where his head went immediately? That's messed up.
But it was interesting that he had that insight into his son that like his whole thing was based on followers.
Yeah. That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
That was his first instinct. Like, yeah, let's get you mauled so we can like up
Get more followers.
Your Insta cred.
Yeah. And I feel like Brooks was kind of into it, except the fact like, well, I don't want to risk my life. But he was about getting more followers.
Exactly. So that was bizarre. But as we said, it just looks like their relationship is in maybe a rocky place. I don't know if it's just because of the distance, or what's going on. But then you kind of see them trying to like make up for like not being around, and so he does this weird thing.
Yeah, the floral arrangement, that was so strange.
And I mean, it was a very strange floral arrangement. And it wasn't like, these people supposedly have money. You would think that they could find an actual florist who could do whatever it is they needed done. But no, he like gives it to Brooks to do. And I don't know if that's just so he could, have more shoot time. Like they'd have more cameras on him.
Maybe. That's a good point. Because like that floral arrangement just looked like a rose threw up in that poor living room. It just looked, it went past romantic or kind. It was just like, oh my God, like, did a tornado pass through here?
Yeah, it wasn't like, sometimes when you see things, I mean, we've seen lots of people, oh God, Tamara and Eddie. We've seen people on other reality, like, or Bravo kind of housewives show where they do the whole, I'm going to scatter rose petals everywhere and like have candles and do everything that's quote unquote kitschy romantic. But it is on point. This is just like someone just came in literally like if someone had like opened up a pillow with feathers and the feathers went all over the floor. That's what the rose petals look like.
And then like was like, this mess of petals is missing something. Oh right, a rose coffin, because that's just really what all the girls want these days.
Yeah, it's just weird. I didn't really understand. It was like the random walk. Like the entire conversation around that was just like, okay, I'm just saying stuff to say stuff.
Yeah, and then like even the FaceTime call after the whole arrangement, she was like, oh, well, thanks. And he was like, okay, cool. And it's just like, I don't know. It was a weird start to Meredith's arc, I guess.
Yeah, and again, I'm with you. Like if anyone like that I feel really, really close to and is trying to do something romantic for me and in that same breath says something about a coffin.
Well, yeah. I mean, he didn't say it was a coffin. It looked like a coffin.
I know, but that was just like, ugh. It's just like a weird place to take that in the romantic realm.
Yeah. I mean, maybe like, a 3D rose heart or something. But like just like this rectangular thing, it made no sense.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, what are you trying to harken back to for that? It's just a little
that's a little ominous.
A little weird.
Like, are you trying to tell us something?
So then the next person we meet is the evil twin, Lisa.
Yes. Oh gosh, Lisa.
And I know we're probably kind of like, maybe you would like Lisa, but
she's sorry for your Lisa stans.
Not our cup of tea.
Yeah, we're not going to hold back here. I am not a fan of Lisa in the slightest.
Yeah, I mean, she's super pretentious.
Yeah. I'm Miss New York. I know fashion. I know everything, and I'm the best Mormon ever.
Like literally, she like says she's from New York, but when she like really starts to talk and she gets into it, she sounds like she's from Jersey. Because it's like in it. Like I was like, what?
She's like, she wants to be New York.
Yeah, I mean, she may be from New York. I'm not gonna.
I mean, I guess
poo-poo her provenance, but I just think she's not from the Upper East Side of New York.
That is for sure. She would not fit in with the New York Housewives.
Yeah, I'm not sure that would go far. I think Ramona would have her cast out immediately.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we meet her, and one of the things that kind of stands out, maybe this is something that clouds our judgment, but we like get a look at her house. And we'll have to say, all of their houses are pretty cute.
They're cute. I mean, I think I'm just biased because of New York and Beverly Hills, who have like mega mansions.
Aside from Jen, who has the giant chalet.
Okay, yeah, Jen Chalet. But like, I'm just used to like, Kyle Richards' house, which is like an estate. And like, then you look at these cute little Salt Lake City houses, which are very big, like they're bigger than our house.
Yeah, but then you go into her house and she is, I guess she likes to say she's very minimalist and monochrome.
Oh, yeah. But then like, yeah, she's like Miss New York, Miss Style. And then we go into her house at 6:45 a.m. and she's waking up her sons, and you see these hideous big black posters, I guess you could say, with like grit and hustle. It's just like, why?
Like, yeah, it's like normally you would see like the kids' names like above their beds, but they're these giant letters that I guess are supposed to instill them with these qualities.
Yeah, it was very off-putting, and they weren't even hanging. They were like sitting on the bed.
And the colors were just, I mean, the colors of the kids' room was like, they were sad and drab.
Yeah, it lacked personality. And I know these are like the most minuscule things to pick on a person, but it really stood out to me, and it really kind of grinded my gears.
I know. My thing is like, what is a 7-year-old hustling for?
Yeah, like Cheerios. Like, I don't know.
And what have they overcome that they need grit for? I'm like,
Yeah.
they live in a beautiful Salt Lake City, it probably suburb.
Yeah.
But like they live somewhere in a really beautiful house in a nice neighborhood.
They get whatever they want.
Yeah. So I think they clearly get whatever they want. Yeah. So.
But I guess not their own decorations. But then we also learn a bit about Lisa's businesses. Like, she's a luxury...
Like
event planner, but I think like a media firm or something.
Right.
And then like, she also owns like a laundry list of tequilas.
Right.
And vodka.
Oh, yeah. Well, she's
starting a vodka line.
Yeah. So, but she
owns like 4 tequila brands.
She's trying to be the Bethany of Salt Lake City. And actually, I guess she's doing okay.
Yeah. I did look up her Tequila Vita, and it actually did win some awards. So I guess that's something.
Yeah, I'm starting to think everybody has a tequila brand. Maybe that should be our next move.
I know. After the podcast,
we live close enough.
Please
to the
check out our tequila brand, Met Gala Tequila, coming to you soon.
That's right. You get a few followers, it could happen.
Yeah. We appreciate all our followers out there.
Make sure to subscribe.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, so that's kind of interesting. I mean, that she does this, and she likes to say she's very proud that she is Mormon.
Yeah,
she is LDS, and that they don't drink, and she doesn't drink. Or does she drink?
I'm really confused about that, because she says she doesn't drink, but she's like, our house is always stocked. Why would it need to be stocked if you weren't drinking?
Yeah, it is kind of a strange thing. So maybe we'll learn more as the episodes go by. We'll have to stalk and see if there's actually any drinking going on.
Lisa seems to be a ball of hypocrisy, but we'll see that later as well.
Yeah, I hope. I'm interested. I think she's literally going to be one of the big pot stirrers.
Yeah, I think she's going to be the villain.
Yeah, well, she'll be one of them, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
I don't think they're going to be limited to one villain.
No, not at all.
So, and then we're saving the best for last.
Mary Cosby.
Mary Cosby.
Wow, what a woman.
Yep, we learn a lot about Mary really early.
Yeah, more than I think anyone ever wanted to know about anyone else.
So she, again, is not LDS. She is Pentecostal.
Yeah.
And something interesting, which I did not understand could be done, she was willed her husband in her grandma's will, because her husband was her grandma's second husband. So
her grandma's, yeah.
Yeah, her grandma. Yeah, her grandma's second husband. And so now she's married to her step-grandpa.
Yeah, that's just so messed up on so many levels. And like, I'm sure we don't have to get into that, because we're all having the same feeling of like, what the fuck? But yeah. I mean,
step-grandpa.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, and they have a son together, which is just a whole nother thing to unpack.
Right, and we find out a lot about like she is, I will have to say something, Mary does not hold back.
No.
She is honestly a bit of an open book. Even though my understanding now is she's trying to close that book a lot, like she's trying to sue people so they don't talk about her life. She's like
blocking people on Instagram.
Yeah,
and like pages.
Yeah, it's really odd that you would like come out the gate being so gangster. I'm open. I talk about everything. And then now that the show's aired, she's kind of like, stay out of my business.
Yeah, I mean, you signed up for the Real Housewives. Like, none of these women are getting spared scrutiny, you know? So, like, she signed up for this.
Exactly. No, Mary has like, she has this amazing set of interesting and amazing sense of fashion. She actually has the coin to be able to go out and buy stuff. She has a lot of vintage stuff, and she is always kind of dressed to the nines, and basically she is living for it in terms of having a giant, just a giant wardrobe and a giant life, I think. And so that's kind of interesting. She is the first lady of her church because she thinks pastor sounds too old.
Yeah, because somehow First Lady really just has a better ring to it.
Yeah, she's really good about needing to like label things.
Yeah. I think that's how she like compartmentalizes her world.
It's true. So so again, we talked about the fact that she has this very unique style, and
which I think is kind of crazy because like, how is this church getting her enough money to get like vintage Prada and Versace and Gucci, which I mean, that's a lot of money. That's not cheap.
We should know. We have Joel Osteen down the road.
Yeah, but I mean, is Mary the First Lady really Joel Osteen level?
Well, apparently you don't need much. I mean, maybe if we go into the tequila things, maybe we'll find Jesus.
Yeah. Praise Jesus. Welcome to our podcast.
Because we do see a little clip of her in the church.
Yeah, she's like yelling, moving, and shaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that's how she keeps fit.
Yeah, that does seem like a workout to be a past or first lady.
So that's kind of the intro that Bravo has given us to this new season of Ladies. And then we it kind of moves on from the, I'm going to be introducing you to them to actually starting to see them in the wild together.
Yeah, interact.
Yeah, so because you're kind of trying to figure out how do all these women like really connect,
mesh. Yeah, because they just seem like they're from different social circles, really. Besides Lisa and Meredith, the twins, they all just seem like a mishmash.
But they seem to know it. Like, aren't two of them cousins? Like Whitney's somebody's cousin.
Yeah, Whitney and Heather are cousins.
I guess that happens a lot in LD.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, the Mormon church is pretty tight knit.
I mean, and they are royalty. They're both royalty.
That's true. That's true.
So they probably had to. Royalty. It's like the British. They have to marry their cousins.
Oh,
and
gosh.
No, I'm just saying. It's just the same kind of secession kind of thing. You can't marry just anybody.
No, that's true.
So I wasn't trying to make any untoward,
to our Mormon followers out there.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, I was comparing you to the British monarchy. It's not a bad thing unless you don't like them.
Yeah. So the first matchup you could say is Lisa versus Heather, where they're both, I guess Lisa's not from Utah, but she moved here for college. But Heather claimed that she knew Lisa from BYU like 20 years ago. And Jen brought it up at a conversation at Meredith's house. And Lisa was like, yeah, I never met that girl. I don't really know her. And then proceeded to say, oh, well, actually, she flashed her boobs.
And she was a good time girl.
She was a good time girl. Honor code, what? And it's like, that's like so rude.
Yeah, I know. Because the thing is like BYU does not play.
No. Like
literally, I had a friend who was working for BYU. I don't think they were actually teaching. And my friend, who was also from New York, or New Jersey, New York, they went jogging one day, like literally, and they had like a cap sleeve top and like running shorts. And they got called into the president of BYU's office. Yeah. And they were handed like literally basketball length shorts and 3/4 sleeve shirt, and said that like if they were caught out again, and like she was like, who reported them? And like they have like this rule where it's like on your honor to report people if they break the rules. So
like
my thing is,
Gilead
but my
type
thing,
stuff.
yeah, but my thing is that I believe Heather. Like, if that actually happened, she would have been out of there. It wouldn't have been
Yeah.
honor code what? It would have been Heather got kicked out of school what?
Do you think they can like retroactively take away her
Degree?
diploma? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think Heather's like very adamant that did not happen, and so it was just
She
like,
wishes it happened.
yeah, because like, and that's the other thing about Lisa, which we didn't. I think we skipped over, but like, she's a convert, so she's not. I mean, she's not Mormon royalty like Heather.
No, she was Jewish upbringing, and then wasn't really religious.
And then somebody knocked on their door. I mean, you know, the Mormons, when
Yeah.
they come, the two guys come and their little, like, you know, Elder Price like shows up.
I'm sure that's an accurate depiction of Book of Mormon.
Hello.
My name is Elder Price.
But like, and she just said, her mom said, I've been waiting for you. Like, I mean, no offense, but like, I'm sure the Jehovah Witnesses are like jonesing for that to happen to them too. I'm like
I know. Was it just a roll of the dice? She could have been Jehovah's Witness.
I think so. Like, literally, I don't know, but you know, however you come to God, that's fine.
That's your journey.
That's your journey. It just sounded a little funny that like, you know,
Just
that
the
would be
first person that
like,
knocked on my door.
I was like, I'm not sure that I've ever waited for any like major thing in my life to just knock on my door, but maybe that's how I should change my life.
Maybe we're doing it wrong.
Exactly. Anyway, anywho, back to them, because literally it was a thing. Like, that's like a really, especially in that community, and like, honestly, Heather does have a lot of hang-ups about the fact that she is not, I mean, she feels like in some ways she failed, but she's kind of happy, I think, that she's divorced, but she still feels like that's a weakness and a failure. So the fact that someone is, she does, I think, strive for perfection. I think that's still very much ingrained in her. So that someone would besmirch her, like, reputation, I think is just...
And just like saying you don't know someone when they said that they knew you is just like a gut punch.
I know, it's reminiscent of Nene and Phaedra. I mean, I don't know if all of you remember, but back in the day, Nene was like, Phaedra, who? I didn't know her when we lived down there in Athens, I think is where they're from. Anyway, she was like, I didn't know her. And it was a thing. And so, because apparently, and I'm not sure how you wouldn't, I mean, I don't care if like, you know, Phaedra Parks is Phaedra Parks. You were going to know her when she was 16 or whatever. And like Nene's the same way. So literally, this is the same dynamic. Like literally, they would have known each other. BYU is not this giant place.
Yeah.
And they have you segregated most of the time. So the girls are going to know the girls. So
Especially no Mormon royalty.
Exactly. Like Heather would have been up there.
Yeah. But yeah, so we have that. Lisa v. Heather, definitely some bad blood between them. Then we have a relationship between Meredith and Jen. I guess they met in New York like 2 years prior to the show and started developing a relationship. And so in this first episode, it was Meredith's birthday week. And Jen decided to be Jen and decide host this over the top party inspired by the Met Gala.
Which I think is hilarious. So that for two people, like, again, going back to, because I remember Heather, like, was talking to Jen about it. Mm-hmm. And basically, as Jen was describing the party, Heather was very nicely trying to say to her, that doesn't sound like her vibe. Like, I don't think she would like something small and more intimate.
And, like, refined. You know, whereas, like, Heather was like, oh, this would have been a perfect party for me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are you going to do for my party?
Exactly.
I want this party.
Yeah. I don't know if this is Meredith's cup of tea.
Yeah. But again, it was clear that Jen Shaw, and as she says, you know, everybody wants a Jen Shaw party. Like, I was like, I'm not sure that everyone does want a Jen Shaw party.
Yeah, because
except for Jen Shaw.
Yeah, yeah. Especially, I guess, everybody might want a Jen Shaw party, but definitely don't want a Jen Shaw party as their birthday party. Because at the end of the day, a Jen Shaw party, or Jen Shaw birthday party is about Jen Shaw. Because, like, even one of the guests who came to the birthday party thought it was Jen's birthday. didn't
That was
even know.
because Jen's name was on the entrance.
Yeah, that flower wall. Oh my gosh. Like, she couldn't make it any more obvious that she only did this for herself. And it just happened to be that Meredith's birthday was that day.
I know. And here's the thing. I mean, I've just got to mention this too. Like, she has a very large home, which is the
ski chalet.
Ski chalet. It's a very large home. And somehow, to have this amazing party for her friend, she had to somehow sneak it under her husband's nose. So he's out of town, and she gets all the furniture removed.
Yeah.
And she has a giant awning built with a step and repeat, the red carpet, the whole thing, and like still like pretending like he's not gonna notice. Like, it's like some 16-year-old like having a party when your parents go out of town.
Yeah.
Only having it with like $1 gajillion.
That, and it's like, obviously she's recording. So like, I'm assuming Coach Shaw knows about this party now.
I'm sure Coach Shaw knows about everything she does. I'm not sure that Sharif seems like he's on the ball.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but anyway, yes, back to the flower wall. Like, the flower wall looked like the flower wall that the salon where we went and had your hair done
for prom.
Yeah. It was a prom kind. It was a salon kind of flower wall.
And then of course you just said Jen, like, what was it? Ski chalet or Jen's chalet or Shaw chalet.
Yeah.
And like,
and then people said happy birthday to her. I think
yes,
some of the guests were like, happy
one
birthday.
of the guests I think brought a gift for Jen. She was like, no, it's for Meredith, and the guest was so like confused.
Like, I wonder what that invitation looked like. Like, did it even mention Meredith's
Probably didn't
name?
even have Meredith's name
like,
on it.
A soiree at the Shaw Chalet.
And like in like 0.5 font.
Meredith's
birthday party.
I know, because aside from the core group, it seemed like no one knew this.
Nobody knew. Did anyone know? I guess no, Meredith sent Jen an invite list.
Right.
So like, I guess Meredith did have some people there, but
yeah, that's true. Which brings us to the next and the crux of what we've seen. It's like some future things, like in terms of what
The
might be
preview,
happening,
yeah.
previews of what's happening throughout the season. And it looks like we're getting, the beef is starting here.
yeah, episode 1. And like, this is some beef that happened off screen that we didn't even see. It's Mary Cosby versus Jen Shaw, which when you rewind, we see that they actually were pretty good friends. So like, they were, the first kind of clip we see with them is that Mary is at Jen's house sharing shoes, which I don't know about you, but like, if I'm sharing my like, if I had Louboutins, I'm not like letting anyone's foot in my Louboutins.
Yeah, she seems fairly, I mean, so they seem really close.
Yeah, but then
But then we see that there's a rift, and it's very, very clear. And like, basically, this is one of those things that like, take to the grave, I'm never forgiving you, you're dead to me,
so
kind
you
of
think
things.
like something bad happened.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting there going, I mean, did she try to sleep with Sharif because she's tired of Grandpa? Or like,
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, something really major. Did she like totally like, diss my child? Did, her Pentecostal church like start, protesting outside the Shaw? So I'm like, no, not really.
Mary Cosby said that, not Jen, she just said at a lunch or no, a dinner.
Yeah, it was like a gathering of the girls.
But not the girls that we know, just
Yeah,
like
but
some
just-
other girls.
Yeah.
But like, oh, it smells like hospital in here.
And this was after Jen had come from her grandmother.
No, her
aunt's.
aunt's
Her aunt's, yeah.
bedside at the hospital. She just got a double amputation.
Right, and she left the double amputation. I mean, this woman who's so dedicated to her aunt.
Her aunt, who she considers a mother figure, who raised her.
She left the bedside of the double amputee on the day it happened.
Yeah.
By the way. Not just like it had happened, but the day it happened.
I need to go get a drink with the girls.
Right, and Mary says It smells like hospital.
And like it, not anybody in Pacific, it.
And apparently, I mean, this is a little bit over the top too, because Mary has this visceral problem with things that smell like hospital because she had all of her odor glands.
Like, I know we probably should not be laughing at this, but it's just like she claims to have does she say PTSD?
She said she has PTSD.
Yeah, she has PTSD, and PTSD is a serious thing. But like, what? Because she got her odor glands removed, which, from my knowledge, I can't even imagine. Like, what reason besides cosmetic do you need your odor glands removed?
Well, and then she was just like, well, I went to the hospital, and when I had my son, I just one push and it was done. Like, it sounds like she went to a drive-through hospital because she didn't spend a lot of time there, but it was the 20 days?
30 days.
30 days.
And she died. Oh, she almost died twice.
On the table.
On the table. On the dying table.
On the dying table.
We thought it said dining table the first.
I'm like,
where are they performing this surgery?
I guess in Utah they have a dying table. As opposed to the surgical table.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to have me have PTSD, because if I have to have surgery, I'm just going to look at it as the dying table now.
Oh gosh. But yeah, she has this visceral injury. Like, I love her examples of, oh, I'll never go to the hospital even if I have to go get a nose job or something. Like, what is that your first thought of like why you would need to go to the hospital?
Like, no heart attack, no stroke,
a broken arm, an amputation.
Exactly. But anyway, so back to the, offense. Yeah. So literally she said this, and then it was like, and then she's like, she came after my family. And I was like, it's not just me. She came after my family.
And like, this was a disrespect and a direct dig and like stab me in the back. And this is Jen, by the way. And it's just like, it feels so disproportionate what Mary said. And she didn't even say it to Jen. She said it to a friend of Jen's, who then told Jen about it, which for sure, is it the nicest thing to say, it smells like hospital in here? No. But like, is it something that ends a seemingly good friendship, a foot in Louboutin friendship? I don't know. I don't think so.
Because my thing is like, they seem really tight. I would have called and said, to my friend, hey, did you say I smelled like hospital? Because then I might be a little bit, offended. And then you might say, no, I said it smelled like hospital, and, explain your weird odor gland removal and why you have an issue with it. And then you can apologize, because you can say, if that offended you, that's whatever. And, we're done. Yeah. Literally, we are done. So my thing is, this is going to be my one, like, my beef with this whole, like, and I don't know how far this is going to go, but from previews, it seems to go far. It is deep. The wound is deep. The hospital smell is deep.
It's deep.
But basically, my thing is like, it almost seems like it is so contrived. Like, we have to have a beef, like a giant beef.
Yeah.
Like, there are like so many things there could be beefs about. But the comment, it smelled like hospital, seems like, yeah. I mean, I'm sure, as like anyone who's watched Housewives, I mean, there's so much subtext in their life. You're like, man, you're mad about that. There's like some other stuff that's happening, and
yeah, because that's like such a visceral reaction that Jen had. Like, she stormed out of the main ballroom into her own room, which is where the episode kind of leaves off. But it's like, that is a bit like, I mean, that's a dramatic response to like, it smells like hospital.
Yeah, I mean, not to go back to other beefs, but like, like the one beef I remember in Housewives history, which was about somebody saying something about someone, was like when Portia kind of said that Candy wanted to rape somebody and they had drugged people and done stuff. And so like, yeah, if someone's telling like the general public that my husband and I are like drugging and, sexually assaulting people, when you have a family, that is like bad. But that is not, you smell like hospital. I'm sorry. Not the same.
Absolutely not. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, Mary's definitely not in the right 100%, but like Jen just seems like she's overreacting.
Yeah, it's like everything with her. It's really over the top.
And like Mary definitely didn't need to add that comment of like, oh, well, she's getting a double amputation when she's 50 or something, 60. Like clearly she doesn't have a good diet and she should just drink water.
So yeah, I mean, literally the thing is that I'm like, I mean, it goes like, it's like a firecracker. Like literally they end up fighting in a room. There's like all kinds of things said. And yeah, in the end, you know, it was basically like, oh, she got her legs amputated. Maybe she should have drank some water. I was like,
yeah, I didn't realize water had such a healing effect.
I know. I assume that, you know, Jen's aunt was a diabetic. And I do understand that there's like some water issues there, but I don't think that's like the full story. I don't think we should be telling people that if, you know, you might get your legs amputated, that drinking water may just save you.
I mean, yeah. Although maybe we were drinking the wrong water.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, can Mary drop her water source?
Yeah, exactly. Because obviously it is like, it's something close to Lourdes, apparently.
Yeah. It's some like holy water. I mean, it's like those same people who are like, oh, what's your skincare routine? And it's like, oh, I drink water. It's like, well, okay. So does everybody else.
Bernadette Subaru water.
Like, yeah, like, okay.
Thank you, Holy Virgin Mother, for your water.
Yeah.
And my beautiful skin. And my, like, not losing my 2 legs.
I think, like, that's genetics at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, yeah, there's a lot more going on. But anyway, so that kind of wraps up the first episode of
Salt Lake City.
Yeah, and we are looking forward to taking this journey
with y'all. Yeah,
maybe we'll find out more about the water.
Maybe hopefully.
Maybe we'll find out why. You know, inquiring minds want to know, why did Mary have her like odor glands taken away?
Yeah,
and
why did it take 30 days?
Exactly. And why doesn't Lisa's husband pay for a professional florist?
There's, Meredith's husband.
Oh, sorry, Meredith.
See, you're already getting them confused.
I hate it. They look alike. Like, they should never get 2 people who look alike.
At least they don't have the same, like, starting letter, you know? It was, like, Lisa and Luann or something, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this journey.
Maybe we'll find out why Lisa's...
Had to stick up her butt?
No. Well, she has. Yeah, she does have it. I really want to know why her children need grit and hustle.
Oh, true. Well, thank you so much for listening this far into our ramblings. If you wouldn't mind, drop a like or a review in the podcast app, wherever you're listening to this. And I guess we'll see you on the next one.
All right. See ya.